and international market is the #1 choice of men's grooming product. Amir believes, and I quote, and I found this absolutely beautiful. So Amir believes, and I quote, if you do something, do it with your heart. He sings and plays the guitar, and apparently is actually quite good at it. One of his dreams is to become a travel TV host, and he is a die-hard fan of Manchester United. He's a born entrepreneur, ladies and gentlemen. He's a believer of pure hard work. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce to you our first speaker on the panel, Amir.
Hello,
Now,
everyone. Nice to meet everyone.
thank you, Amir. Moving on to our second speaker is Chua Shawn. Shawn graduated as a chemical engineer at Monash University here in Sunway and went on to gain working experience with British Petroleum. That's the petrol I fuel up in my car, as a project manager under their management training program. Wonderful. Out of college and immediately a project manager. He has since then worked with a number of multinationals before he decided to move on and explore working with SMEs. He has played a key role in the business development of a very unique startup known as Pullover Technologies. Now, I'm pretty sure you're unfamiliar with Pullover Technologies. I was too. It is, he'll tell us more about it, but it is a startup which is really new and unique, where they help you park your cars and they help you drive back home if you need the help. Apparently, they're based in Bangsa and another location at the moment. Shawn is amazingly one of the 21 scholars of Chevening Awards. He leaves this September to embark on the journey of attaining his master's degree in entrepreneurship and innovation with University of Edinburgh. He is a lover of video games and a lover of dogs. Ladies and gentlemen, a person with a lot of experience in his career, and now moving on to become an expert in entrepreneurship. Let us welcome Chua Shawn. Shawn, as we are going to address him from now on.
Hello. Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for the very comprehensive introduction. Just to clarify, it's my first job is not a project manager, it's a project management analyst. Yeah,
okay.
it's an analyst role, yeah.
All right, okay,
yeah.
so project management analyst. Welcome,
yeah.
Shawn.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, yeah.
Moving on to our next speaker, Kuhan Pathy. Kuhan is a chartered engineer by day, and you wonder what is a chartered engineer doing with us today? He is a successful social entrepreneur by choice. He believes in a purposeful career, ladies and gentlemen, an amazing word, a purposeful career, and therefore has chosen a hybrid model for himself. He's the co-founder of Masala on Wheels. Masala on Wheels was incepted in 2015 while Kuhan was on a retreat at the Himalayas. He didn't take me and go. Masala on Wheels has served affordable and tasty food to the public in the day and to the poor at night. Kuhan's going to tell us a lot more about Masala on Wheels. But the little that I have researched, Masala on Wheels has given work opportunity to youths with limited education and troubled backgrounds. Youth who were at risk of being lured into the life of crime and drugs. Till date, more than 50 youths have been trained under them and are still working with them. So well done there, kudos. Kuhan is the co-founder of the Chamber of Social Entrepreneur Development. Now here's an amazing fact. He was invited by the President Obama, yes, that's right, in 2016 to present about social enterprises in Silicon Valley. You heard that right. He hopes to see the local social entrepreneurial landscape grow further. And I agree with you, Kuhan. We still have a lot to grow. He, ladies and gentlemen, is a go-getter, a man of passion and drive. I take great pride in inviting our next speaker, Kuhan Pathy.
Thank you, Ajeet. It's a pleasure to be here and to also share a little bit of our journey here. Thank you.
Thank you, Kuhan. Now, to the speakers who have just, to the listeners who have just arrived, to the youth who have just arrived, we have got 2 segments today. It's pretty simple. 45 minutes of a panel session in which I'll be asking our lovely speakers a couple of questions that we hope will be useful to you. And then After the 45-minute session is over, we hope to open to the floor for 15 minutes, and you may ask whatever question it is that you want to ask. I do not know if these speakers are married or single. So even if it's a personal question, go ahead, jump right at it. You may throw your questions in the chat, in that little chat icon down there. And the fellow Bimbing people will highlight the questions to us and we will read them out for the speakers. Now, Kuhan, since you were the last person I introduced, let's start with you. Can you tell us where it all started for you? What made you decide on the paths? And I say paths because there are several that you had taken. The floor is yours, Kuhan.
All right, thank you, Ajeet, and I'm pretty glad to be here to share with a lot of people to also know some of our a little bit of our past background. So it all started with volunteering, and I believe that's what my good friend here is also doing, Simrat, and also Gurpreet, volunteering for youths, and that's when it started in 2011, where I started volunteering for refugee youths, trying to teach them programming. And then it went on a very small scale, and it all came out of your own pockets, and then roping a few youths together to do the same. And that's when I felt that we needed something more sustainable, because how long can we take up from our own pockets, and how long can we be asking people? So that's when we thought that it's time for us to set up a business model which could actually generate revenue, and that revenue being used to actually empower at-risk youths. And this whole idea of fundamental was there, but where do we drive these fundamentals towards? That's when it came in 2015, where one of our first beneficiary got involved in a fight, in a gang fight. So our first beneficiary was a former involved in a former gang, and during that fight, his whole wrist got sliced literally, and they were rushing hospitals to get him attached, and so. And that's when the parents looked back and asked us, you guys, there's quite a few of your youths are very successful, but what have y'all, why can't you all help these guys as well? Because they all come from the same school. And that's when we thought, okay, we will roll the first social enterprise food truck in Malaysia. I bought it off at 15,000 ringgit on muda.my, very simple, white color, horrible looking one. Just roll it on the streets to get and start generating income. And today he is the serving CEO of the organization. So that is our journey up to today. Over to you, Ajeet.
All right, so you say 2015, you throw years. I would like to know, for the sake of the youth out there, how old you were at that point.
That's good, 2015, I think I was about 24, 25.
Well, that's a point to note. Yeah. So you started
Yes.
as young as 24, 25. And I read another article in which it says that your journey actually started way before, much younger. Could you share with us, at what age did you have this thing about serving the society?
Okay, so that started right when I got into university. So when I got into the university, how it came about was when I got into a student body. So I had to be a representative for the community and to join my other peers. So I got into a student body, and that's where the journey started of representing people, representing their voices. And most of the time is when voices are not being heard, I play a role to bring it up. And that's where it started in the university. And then when I got out, I had very close attachment to the refugee community because I felt very close to them. They were usually the ones that I worked with, post-war survivors. And I took a personal attention to it is because I wanted to hear what happened during the war and what were their personal encounters. And trust me, when they approached me, UNHCR approached me, they told me I need to teach C++. And that was the most hated subject in the university. And I had to actually do what is, after work on a daily basis, come home, self-learn, and then on the weekends go and teach the refugee community how to do C++. And I was actually quite impressed that sometimes when they do it better than me. And that is one way that kept me contented, because some of them have moved away, and some of them are in Canada, some of them in Australia, and they have actually taken up jobs in IT. So those are our motivations at a very young age to keep going. Yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant. What I hear from what you just shared with us is that your journey actually started a long time back. So, to youth out there, if you're sitting down and you have an idea, you must give thought to the idea, because you don't realize which idea is going to take you where many, many years later. Now, let us move on with Amir. Amir, could you tell us a little bit about where your journey began?
Hello and hi everyone. Is my voice clear?
Yes, it is very much.
All right. I'm glad to be here to share with you. And yeah, where I start, it's a bit simple. It's a bit simple, but it has the same concept with Kuhan, which is we look for problem and we try to solve it. We look for problem and solve it. That's always the mentality that we have to have always in your career, or when you want to start your own business. See a problem, solve it. Small problem, solve. Big problem, solve. So when your mentality are set in that way, so it's easy for you to find ideas and solution and try to help others, right? So mine, during 2015, during Hari Raya, back then, we can go back to kampung, meet our family back then. Now, no lah. I don't know until when. But then one of my cousin, he bring a pomade, back in 2015, no one knows what pomade is. Maybe like, some of us, but he bring a pomade back to kampung, and that's when I first discovered pomade, this hair, this hair fashion or hair grooming things, So I think it was from the US. So he bought it online for $60 something. The brand was Suavecito, I think. So and then I wear it for 3 days. Hari Raya is 3 days, so I wear it for 3 days and I like it. As I said, like, this thing is very, very good. It holds your hair, it's easily washed. And then for Malaysian climate, I think it's very suitable because it holds your hair very strong. Then I check up online and I see there's not much pomade in Malaysia. Maybe maybe some small player, but big players like Gatsby, Bell Cream, they are not making pomade in 2015. So and then the ones that we are selling in Malaysia are very expensive, 60 ringgit, 80 ringgit. So there I see a problem, I see space there, and then the solution is, how do I bring pomade to Malaysian? How can they use it, and how can they buy it with a good price? So back then it was 60 to 80 ringgit. Then I start researching, did some my mixture. I did mix it back at my house, and I found the solution, and I found the ingredients, and then I approached a few factory, to make it for the production, so that I can have all the certificates, GMP and halal, because my objective is to go inside Watson, to go inside 7-Eleven, all these big stores. So I need this all this GMP and halal certification. So yeah, I approached them, and we discussed price, and I managed to sell it back then 5 years ago for 35 ringgit. So that's half from the US pomade that was selling at 60. And then now, because of the volume and everything, I managed to get it down to 29. So I'm looking now to get it down to 20 or maybe 19, so that more people can wear it, more people can enjoy it, and I can sell it at more stores, something like that. Yeah. So
Wonderful. From what I heard, there's this thing that you kept saying again and again, and that is, when there is a problem, you look for the solution.
yeah.
And I think that's a great attitude to start as an entrepreneur. Kuhan, you'll agree with me. Shawn, you probably agree with me too. What's your take on that? When there is a problem, you look for the solution, and that's the mindset of an entrepreneur.
Yeah, you're right. I think I had this mindset actually back in my university days. Ever since when I want to, after graduation, I do intend to join the startup. Okay, and but I have this. I I did realize that I still need to gain some working experiences first, and also to explore the market out there, you know, so other things that I've done besides just working in MNCs is actually to network, and also to know people out there and see what is the trends and the current market, current issues in the society. And since then I got to know the co-founder of Pullover Technologies. And back then it was a two-man show, him and another co-founder. And so I said, I think that this is a very good initiative. And so I decided that, you know, I'll be part of the team. And that was back in 2018, 2019. Yeah. So I expressed my interest to join as the business development side because I see the potential growth in it. And we just need to find the direction of the company. And we made some good progress. We managed to push out the MVP. Although a lot of this MVP is the minimum viable product, you know, something that we bootstrap. We use our own funds a bit to create a small little product and test it out. It was good. It was good. Just that recently there's a hit because of the COVID crisis, and we have to take a step back to reevaluate our direction. But the progress was good. It was good. Yeah. And so to answer your question, Ajeet, is that, the problem now we have, especially in Southeast Asia, is actually poor traffic management. And also, you know, it's so hard to get parking, you know, in KL or in other towns and cities. So we are trying to tackle that issue one city at a time. Yeah.
And I love it, absolutely love it. I just don't understand how is it that I did not know about it. I hang out in Bangsa quite a bit and I've paid a lot of parking. I'm so glad I've met you. And now that I've known of Pullover. So yeah, I think what we can draw out of this is that have that mindset to look for problems so that you can somehow channel a solution for it, and you never know what may come out of it. An app that's going to assist people, hair product that's going to keep people's hair intact for a half the price or even a smaller price. And God bless to help the society and pull people out of their current standing and give them a better future. Now, Amir and Kuhan, this one's for you. You know, we have a lot of kids who are wondering what to study. You and I and Shawn, we all know when we are 18, we have no clue what we're doing. We research a little here and there, we attend some career day talks, and then we jump right into it. So I want to start off by addressing the education of an entrepreneur. You know, just to get it out there, I want to know what kind of entrepreneurs have what kind of education background. There are a lot of kids who do business studies. I, for one, had to attend the University of Hard Knocks by force when I entered my dad's business. So yeah, I want to know, do you need an education background? Do you need to do business subjects before you become an entrepreneur? Or can you learn it as you go? How did you learn it? Tell us the truth. Dig out the mud and tell us where is it that you actually had your learning moments. Let's start with Kuhan.
Okay, all right. So that's a very good question, Ajeet. You know why? Because I've always been advocating to youths out there to always take the path least taken. And it does not matter what's your academic background. For a good example, I studied for chemical engineering. I never know that one day I would be a social entrepreneur and a drilling engineer. Totally different from what I learned for 5 years. So if someone is studying it, you know, in the university for 3 to 5 years, and if I think just like my friend here, Amir as well, you know, we studied for engineering or geologists, and then we end up doing on social entrepreneurship or something totally different, and that's absolutely fine. The reason being is that, of course, your academic background gives you a good fundamental, a good path into the industry, or a good path into the real world out there. But what you learn on the go is more important, and that's the experiential learning. And I must say, I don't have a single entrepreneurship background. My parents, my mom was a nurse, my dad was a teacher, and you know, it's a big no-no for them to get into business. But after a few years, it was a passion that drove me. And I think if you have that passion, you will learn. Somehow or other, you will learn. It's either you will take up some, you know, reading. And I must say that out of the 6 years of operating an enterprise or Sendirian Berhad, I never learned that in university. I learned that on the go. I learned that by asking and by the inquisitiveness of to learn, and that was what brought us to where we are today. So academic background is just a foundation or a fundamental. Beyond that is all driven by your passion.
So I hear you say you do readings. You ask questions to people. What kind of books have you read? So that I know I'm youth, right? I'm 18 years old. I don't know which book to pick up. Which is a good book? How many books did you read? Did you read papers?
Okay, so when it comes to books, right, I'm a person which is very inclined towards motivational books, like the monk who sold his Ferrari, those kind of books. But when it comes to business, I rarely read business based books because I like articles. So I'm always up on the, it's either Business Times or it's something about the Edge, the Business Edge. I'll try to read those. For example, if I get a star, I would actually look more on the news section where you talk about business. So what, like my friends here were telling about identifying a problem. And this problem, the real world problem, comes up in these sections, where an entrepreneur would be saying, I face this problem and I have addressed it, but they'll ask them, so what is your future plan in the next 5 to 10 years? And then they will give you a problem statement. And you can actually pick up that problem statement to have a startup, because this, in the end of the day, this industry is about working with one another. Everyone has a gap, and then we fill that gap and we work together.
All right, thank you very much. Quickly moving on to Amir. Amir, I think you have similar thoughts as Kuhan.
Back in my uni days, I was studying geology. I'm becoming a geologist. So, but then there's one education of becoming a geology. But then during your uni days, there's few hours of a class. But other time you must feel it. Like Kuhan, he feel it with volunteerism. Like me, I went out with my partner, and then we watched Gossip Girl. Somehow back those days, Gossip Girl was a hit. And then we saw that this character, she always wear this very beautiful leather gloves, fashionable leather gloves. Some that has ribbon on it, stripes and something like that. And then I asked her, because we were in New Zealand. Back then we said, do you see this here? Can you find this type of leather gloves here? Then she said, no, actually the leather gloves here are very boring, black, brown, all, there's no fashion or stripe or ribbon. And then we said, why not we sell this? We take this picture, we give it to the manufacturer in China and ask them to make for us, then we sell it in New Zealand. So that's part of idea. That's part of, I call it education as well.
Yes, of course, because it's trial and error education.
Yeah. Yes. When you see something, and you try to solve it. So Alibaba was there, and then I just contact and send pictures, and we ordered the first 200 pairs of gloves, into New Zealand. And then there's a challenge there. We have to go to New Zealand custom. Then they say, like, you are a student, why are you bringing this? Then I say, oh, this is for my project, my study project, something like that. We have to go around. And then when I check, if you want to avoid tax, you have to only import things that below 200 New Zealand dollars. So that's why we claim it for 1 New Zealand dollars per glove. So there's only 200 gloves every shipment. So something like that. So when we do that, actually you get more, you learn more from that.
So you learn by actually doing it, is what you're saying. If you've got a startup idea, start.
That's true.
That's
just start. Yeah. And my brand back then, Dragonfly Glove, it do well. It sells out hot cakes. But when I started to work with Petronas, I have to leave it, and I think it fails after 5 years, but then still, I do, and I did it, and I learned a lot from it. Then I start the next one.
So what I'm hearing is learning from experience, learning from doing, learning from reading, learning from talking to people.
And you can do it while studying. You can do it, while pursuing a degree, because there's a lot of free time.
Wonderful, thank you. So you thought that you can do it while working, you can do it while studying. There are a lot of things that you should do. You should balance your life and not just park your face into books. There, you want to look at your future 5, 10 years ahead. You start today. Now, Shawn, you have certain thoughts about how one should start with their career. I've got a certain education, so you're saying go study. Make sure you study. Um, can you enlighten us a little bit about that?
Uh, Personally, I think that if you have the opportunity to further your studies, by all means, go ahead, because it is a very good platform for you to not just have a tertiary education, but it's also a very good platform for you to build your first network. You know, who knows, out there once you graduate, that you get to do something great with your course mates or your uni mates. It's something great to have. Okay. But there are also very good examples of people who did not finish their tertiary education, but made it, who actually did it, built a very successful enterprise. And I won't say that there's a right or wrong way. It's all about what opportunities you have that you can go for it. Yeah. So like I just want to bring out a very good example is that my ex-boss, who I used to, my most recent ex-boss, okay, so he has founded the water pumps company back in 1990. And back then he only have qualification up to Form 3. And right up until now, his company is still thriving, doing very well. They are the market leaders in the pump industry in Malaysia. So imagine for 35 years, the company is doing very well. So it all boils down to what opportunities you have, and you must have the right attitude and also perseverance in running an enterprise. Yeah.
Thank you. It's what I'm hearing as well. All of you successful entrepreneurs in your own fields, and people who are listening to this, I think you want to take note that it's the attitude. It really starts from the attitude. If you look around, there are many successful entrepreneurs who, like Shawn said, did not even complete Form 3, never got a chance to go to college, but they're running amazing businesses today, and it boils down to the attitude. Now, if I had to ask you the more difficult question, Kuhan, there are challenges in being an entrepreneur. It's not all pretty. I think what mistake we make is that we look at people, entrepreneurs, specifically coming out of a BMW 5 Series, 3 Series, a few cars, a nice house, 2 nice houses, and we feel like we look at the end goal and we feel like, oh, that's what I want. And then they are lost. They don't know that it's all about getting your hands dirty. It's blood, it's sweat. So Kuhan, really quickly, and it's going to go over to Amir and Shawn as well. Can you tell us your blood and sweat? I know one of your blood and sweat includes a chicken head in a curry, if I'm not wrong. Yes.
Yeah, so I think in my case it's very unique because I'm maintaining both worlds, which is I'm maintaining an 8 to 5 corporate job. At the same time, I'm also having an enterprise which is running for the past 6 years. So trying to manage time is one of the biggest issue that I would see, because 8 to 5, you have your defined objectives, you know what you need to achieve, you can take your own time, and end of the day, as you meet the goals, you are done. But when it comes to an entrepreneurship, to get that every single dollar is not easy. And to strive your best and to put your brand out in the market so that people know, and then you have to build a confidence out of it. It's all about hard work. And when I say hard work, it's not about sitting in the office, because many people think that entrepreneurship is all about sitting in the office and putting up in your e-commerce and getting things out. No, even if a brand or a product is associated to you, you have to get to the ground. You have to get your hands dirty. You need to feel it for yourself before you can even sit up in a position to tell, okay, I know where you would have gone wrong. So you need to have that, your hands dirty. You need to experience it for yourself, and you need to be willing to let go of your probably your time, your clubbing sessions
Tell
or
us how
so.
much time, Kuhan.
Exactly. You have to let it go for the moment, because at the end of the day, yes, your end goal is there. You see a BMW, you see a beautiful bungalow, but to get there, you need to get your hands dirty. You need to give up some of your time and learn it from the scratch. That is a true entrepreneur, because at the end of the day, you will be sitting in that bungalow or BMW, and when someone calls you and say, I have an issue in my product line, and you will be able to spot where the issue starts from.
All right, thank you very much. So from what I hear you saying, it's about doing and working really hard and giving up on some things that we like doing so that we can prioritize and give time accordingly. Now, Amir, over to you. What are your thoughts on this? Can you share with us some of your experiences in what you've given up, in the blood and sweat that you had put in? Because sitting down here looking at you, all I know is that, okay, Amir, hipster pomade has Aaron Aziz on billboards everywhere when I'm driving. He's a successful guy. He's smart, he's gifted, he's talented. Tell us that it's not just that. Tell us that it's your hard work.
Become an entrepreneur because I tell my own experience. For the first 6 months of hipster pomade, I was still working with Petronas. So I did it part-time. Why I did it part-time? Because I think same like Kuhan, I have no family background, business, so everyone is against it. So I have to do it part-time to prove it first, to show them first. You see, so there's no excuse there. I can quit anytime, or I can not do business, and just be a geologist. I mean, it's quite okay, the salary and everything. But then because of the passion, I do it part-time. For the first 6 months, I think I sleep for 3 hours or around 3 hours. So this is real. So what I did, like, okay, after come back from work at 6 p.m., then I eat and, all do prayers and everything. So after 8 p.m., from start to 8, I'll reply text from customer, and then I sort out my inventory. Then starting from 9:30, I will go out to all the barber shops around Nilai, Bangi and Kajang, drive my car and stop there, introduce my pomade and ask them to sell it. And then I stop at the uptowns, Pasar Malam, the uptowns, uptown Bangi, uptown Kajang, so up until 2 o'clock. And then I come back, and then I, just finish up a bit of WhatsApp and everything. So until 3 p.m. I sleep. At 3 a.m. I sleep. So 3 a.m. and then tomorrow, to be able to be at KLCC at 8:30, I have to wake up at 6 because I live in Nilai. So there's a 1.5 hour journey on ERL. So yeah, the first 6 months is like that, but then it get easier, after you hire your first staff, you hire your second staff, and now you have few people working for you, so it get easier. But then Kuhan, I think, is very spot on. You have to do it first, because only then you will know where to troubleshoot. If they have any problem, you know, okay, I did that before, so you have to do this and this. So I think that's a good leader, so you have to do it first, then if not, how will you know? People will not respect you. You don't know
True.
anything. It's
Absolutely
given
true.
to you. Yeah.
Yeah, so you hear it there, ladies and gentlemen. He slept at 3 in the morning and he woke up at 6 in the morning for a few months to set up the business. It is really blood and sweat. It doesn't look at all pretty from behind the curtains. Now, Shawn, you've been working with a startup for some time. Tell us what goes into pulling together a startup, because you've been in the business development from the very beginning. So yes, please.
Yeah. I'd like to actually, I agree with what Amir said. Actually, it's about long hours. Some people think that, oh no, you're running your own business, your own boss, you have flexible working hours. That's true. Flexible working hours means you're working 24 hours a day. Yeah, but there are times where I have to work long weekends, because at point of time I was working 2 jobs. First with my SME that I'm working with Winsight. I was working as a sales engineer. That's my 8 to 5, but sometimes it goes overtime as well. So it's long hours for me, especially on weekends when I have to also go down to the field and for my startup to park people's car or drive people's car back home, because daytime is when, I can do all the parking, but towards the nighttime, it's more of driving, drunk passengers back home safely and stuff like that. So it's a full-time job, for this kind of situation. So it is really just going down to the field and experience and also know what are the issues that your service or your product that may occur, you see. So I think a very good quote actually from Airbnb. I think one of the investors that actually gave to the co-founders of Airbnb is to do things that you cannot scale. So meaning here to say that things that you cannot do in a bigger scale, that means things that you can do when you're small, in your small enterprise, cherish it, because this is where you are very intimate and also very close with the business. As things get bigger, sometimes things may slip through the cracks, but when you are such a small enterprise, this is where you should spend the extra effort and also the attention on your business to make sure that you can actually be sustainable and also scalable.
Pretty damn amazing. We're talking about getting hands dirty. And Shawn, you were out there driving the cars to understand the business from right down there.
Yeah, that's right.
That's pretty amazing. All right, now I have a few more questions. Let's see which one we want to go on to. Now let's talk about being an entrepreneur means being out in the open, being looked at, being scrutinized. And then with that, we get good media, we get famous, we wear beautiful coats and watches and take photographs, or we get really bad media sometimes. Anyone of the three of you has had an experience with bad media, and how have you handled that experience? Kuhan is smiling, so Amir's unmuted. So Kuhan, you're muted if you're saying something.
I can go first if you want.
Yeah, it's between you gentlemen, up to you.
Okay, so I'll share and then maybe the next person can share. So yes, I mean, one thing that you need to realize is that if you become an entrepreneur and you put your face on a brand, you have to be ready to get shot. It's not very rosy. End of the day, you must also look at your circle. You have competitors, always fighting for opportunities. So because it's a competitive business world, right? So and if someone tells you that if you become an entrepreneur, it's going to be so rosy, you will raise to ranks and you'll be getting dato-ships and all that. Be careful with that. My only thing is that yes, the first few years was so exciting. Even when I gave a lot of sharing to youths, I did tell them that the first year I got from President Obama, and then the following years I got Prestige 40 under 40, and then it came one by one. But then the last year, I mean this year recently, I got badly shot. Is when someone brought up one of my because we work with a lot of at-risk youths. So of course, it's beautiful to see them transform, but then when some people start to bring up, things that what they have done in the past and they associate it with you, yes, then it goes PR crisis. And I've gone through that. It can be a huge mega PR crisis.
Tell us how you handled it, Kuhan.
So if you ask me, I think number one is you cannot debate on social media. Okay, you cannot debate, you cannot correct a wrong in social media with a statement or so. So to me personally, it was taking a step back. That was very important. Taking a step back, let people say what they want to say, because these days we see social activism is also like in social entrepreneurship. How much you do good, people are still going to find some reasons for it, because they see you as something that they can't do, but you have done it. And it's time for you to be, pulled down as well. So that is where, so for me, is step one, I took a step back, engage your team, try to understand what is the grassroots problem. Number two is give it to cool down, because you can see how social media in Malaysia, how it reacts. It just takes a big peak and it will die off in the next few days.
Snowball,
so then, yeah. And then you just come back with a proper statement, be professional. That's the good thing about, being long in the journey of entrepreneurship. You learn a lot. You will take the hit many times, but as you take the hit, your level of tolerance goes up as well. So someone was talking about risk in entrepreneurship. There's a huge risk, and if I tell you that, try to avoid the risk, like you're avoiding potholes, then probably I might say that you become a very polished. You become a very an entrepreneur with not much of an experience. But if you hit that pothole and you rise from it, then yes, you will know how to manage the situation. So take a step back, manage it, come up with professional statements, and do not let that stop you. That is very important. You just go ahead, take a break for a while, like what I do. I always go to the Himalayas, I retreat, don't want to see people anymore, no networking. And then I come back and then go to the next level, because that is the way that you can answer these critics.
Wonderful. Yep. So, Kuhan, you're saying fall down. Don't avoid the potholes, because when you fall down, you will stand up and you will stand up better. You will be an entrepreneur with experience and not a safe player in the field. Thank you. Amir, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I think when you're faced with hard situation, remember why you started. Me, there's two factors. One, why I started business, because of passion. I really love business. But the second one, during times when I work with Petronas, I'm a geologist, so we got sent to Turkmenistan. We got sent to places that you can bring your family. So I'm a bit of family guy, so I cannot be distant from my family for more than sometimes like 5 months, 3-4 months. So I think that is one of why I started my business, so I can be close to my family. So when I'm faced with any challenges, like recently from my team, I got like 30 people, so there's a muchini, growing inside. So something like that, So yeah, be professional and remember why you started. So when you remember why you started, you know your big why, and then remember where are you going as well. So hipster pomade, we only serve in Malaysia now. We can go to Singapore, we can go to Thailand. They are already starting asking, and Indonesia. So there's a long way to go. See it in a bigger
picture.
Yeah,
that's what an
picture.
entrepreneur always does.
That's true.
Yes,
That's true.
you,
So you can see the challenges is very small.
So what we're hearing is, don't avoid the risk, don't be afraid of it. Yes, it's going to be really painful, but go through with it. Take a breather and step back if you have to. Learn from it, go on, and in that process always remember why you started and where you want to be. I think that sort of keeps you, it's a mantra, it keeps you going. Write it down on a wall, on a paper, and remind yourself on a daily basis on why you started and where you're about to go. Now, Shawn, I have a different question for you. Along the way, it's an alone journey. You wake up yourself, you are your boss, you are your everything, and you have to encourage yourself on a daily basis. I run a small business. I know it's no fun to wake up and be your mentor, your role model, your boss, your staff once in a while. So, Shawn, the question to you is it important to have a role model with you, a mentor with you? Does it help in this journey?
Yes. That is, to me, it's actually quite important to have a mentor or role model. And I think if you take a step back, actually, more importantly is you need to have your own support group. Okay, doesn't mean that you just must have a mentor, but sometimes your partners, your spouse or your business partners, these are your very important support group. So now coming back to your mentor or your any role models that you have, it's good that because they have experienced it, and they are ahead in terms of journey, and a lot of things that you have trouble now, chances are your mentors or your role models, they have experienced it before, so they can give you some insights, they can give you advice, give you guidance on how to go about it. So and mentor can be anyone. It can be your ex-bosses, it can be your current boss, it can be your relative or anyone, but it's always good that you need to form that support group so that any tough times that comes to you, you can weather the storm.
So tell me about your mentor, Shawn. Do you have one?
Yeah. So the one that I have now is my ex-boss, and he is quite young, so I think that's why we are quite relatable. And a lot of things that he did an MBA, so a lot of things that I don't don't know in business because I'm from engineering background. So a lot of things for me is on the go. So when I have any issues, you know, in the business or even last time during my work days, any issues that I face, I will go to him. You know, although I don't ask him for immediate solutions, but you know, sometimes I will share some of the shortcomings that I have or the hardships that I've gone through. And at least when you have a mentor like him, he can empathize and also sympathize with what I've gone through.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Kuhan, Amir, do you guys have mentors?
Yeah.
Or is the newspaper and books your mentors?
I have a mentor.
Right.
He's a Chinese guy. So he's my manufacturer, you know, actually. So I met him when I was looking for factory. Then we become friends and we become close. So yeah, now he's my mentor. So
Why is it important to have a mentor?
like Shawn already tell us just now, you know, because they already gone through all these things, you know, so they know how to navigate during, you know, in any problem that you have, you know, so it's kind of like a shortcut, you know. No, you have the map.
Yes.
You have the map.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So we hear that, you know, having a mentor is sort of like a supplement. They assist you, they pull you up when you need their help accordingly. We're talking about entrepreneurship and we've not talked money. Like, hello, where has that topic gone? So let's talk mullah at the moment. Ami, this question is going to start off with you.
Right.
Tell me, I have an idea. Many people have ideas. I dream about ideas at night and I wake up like, I'm going to start that business. And then you're like, okay, should I touch my savings? Should I not? Should I go and explore? Are there loans around? So I have this dream. I have no money or I have very little money. I only have so much in my savings. I don't know what to do. What should I do? What did you do? Guide us.
Right. So initially I worked for 5 years, you know, because I don't have, you know, all these funds or, you know, family that can give me, you know, the funds, the earlier funds. So I work and I save some money, you know, I think around 15,000. So that's where I started. All right. And then what was the question again? Sorry.
I have great ideas. I don't have too much money.
Yeah.
How much money should I pump? Should I go get a loan? The money thing is a
Yeah.
huge thing for youngsters.
Right. So you can work while saving money to start, or nowadays we have, you know, we have a lot of you know, this agentship program or dropship program. It is really good actually. You know, you can become an agent to any product, you know, any product now have open for agentship or dropship, you know, so there you can learn first whether, you know, sales, doing marketing, then when you get a few profits and you can collect your money from there, then you can start. Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is work, learn, earn, and then probably you'll have enough money to start your business. It's amazing how the both of you, Kuhan and Amir, you started in 2015. You started with 15,000. You started with 15,000. Any of you who buy number 1515 is the number you need to buy today. Kuhan, what's your take on this? You were very careful with how you played money. Guide us, tell us, teach us.
Okay, so yeah, actually, I when Amir was talking about 15K, I was thinking, yeah, that's how we started too. So so yes, I think absolutely the same. Not born on a what's it they call it, the silver plate or the gold plate. We had to struggle with our own money. So for me, when I started, I didn't look at the, you know, nowadays I see people are very brand conscious in the way they start things. So we started with a second-hand truck. So I started a food truck, right, in 2015. And I started with a second-hand truck, and it looked one of the most horrible one that you can ever find on Muda. And I just bought that. And when you ask me how I bought, it was 15,000 ringgit. I had about 4 partners at that point of time, and each of them had some savings, and we pulled it together and we put it in. Because trust me, we went around asking people, but you know, they thought that this idea, oh, it's a new idea, and I'm not sure whether I should be giving you. And we didn't want them to stop us from growing, right? You don't. The last thing you ever want is going and telling someone an idea. And the same thing happens these days is we have youths coming telling us idea. We don't want to stop them. We say, go for it. If you have an idea, because at the end of the day, all the ideas that started, which I know started in the past, are the ones that are reality today. But if we never think about it in the past, it wouldn't have been what we see today. So a lot of people didn't believe in our model. They thought, what, charity model with a food truck? That's not going to work. But today we are valuated more than $1 million. So it's a question that, we have to believe in ourselves and our passion. So we put our own money because we trust ourselves. And who is the best investor? Yourself. So we started with 15K and we generated revenue. And that was a drive to get revenue, because why? We needed to grow. And in order to grow, we made it a point, it will only come from revenue and profit. And that's how we grew, and we grew organically. We saw other people, their truck was so beautiful, investment about 300K. We thought, never mind. If it's a food truck from Pasar Malam, let it be as it is. Grow organically, but grow a brand. And when you grow a brand, and then after a year, we actually got our first food truck with a 100K investment. And that came just from profit and revenue. So first 3 years, no grants. Following year, grants came knocking on the door. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, so that is something that people should not, any funds that you don't have or your seed funds should not stop you from initiating your idea. Go ahead with whatever you have.
So we're talking about not having enough funds. Sometimes we have enough money ourselves, or we think it's enough, but we want to start big. We want to scale out a little bigger, than the usual small SME entrepreneurs. Shawn, I think you have a take on this, on how else you can get funds.
So I really admire how Kuhan and I know how growing organically. That's a very respectable and a very good way of growing the business. I really like this idea. But for the nature of my company, because for us, we are still in the pre-seed rounds. So we are still looking to really try to get that confirmation of that growth before, we can actually look for investments from angels or angel investors, or actually from venture capitalists. But being that, such a small team of 10 or so, we have to be very creative in cutting costs and also building a product. So that's why you say you have limited funds. That shouldn't stop you from starting your own venture. It makes you it helps to forces you to be innovative and creative in how to run your own startup. So that's why in my take is that if you can use limited funds to make this business a viable business, then sooner or later the funds, additional external funds, investors will come in and say, hey, we want to help you with your growth. Are you interested to take our money? So always first thing is believe in your own business. Believe that with limited resources, you can still make it. I think that is a very important thing.
That's very well said. Again, it boils down to the attitude of believing in your product and believing in yourself. And, so that eventually people recognize you and they come and say, hey, I see that your business is growing pretty well. Can I invest? And then you decide if you are open to investors or not. Yeah. So now I have a million questions to ask y'all, because this is really exciting. But what we have to do now is we should address the questions which are pouring in, and there are quite a number of them. So let's go right at it. Some questions are for all of you and some questions specifically for some of you. Kuhan, the first question is for you. It's from Amira. She's asking on behalf of a friend. So she's asking, how do we start our own social enterprise? What's the right step and processes? Let's try and keep it a little short and snappy if we can. What type of challenges did you encounter in setting up your own social enterprise?
Okay, all right. Thank you, Amira, for your question. So I'm going to answer in such a way that the second one I'll answer first, the second point, and then that would drive to the first one. So the challenges, yes, we had the same one in the past where we didn't know how to register a social enterprise in Malaysia. 2015 social entrepreneurship in Malaysia was pretty new. There was no guideline. There was no policies to govern it. So it was a struggle for a lot of social entrepreneurs, but then there were a few of them who collectively got together, started getting involved with the government, and that's when, if you see, we formed the Chamber of Social Entrepreneur Development, and we came up with specific guidelines on how to register. So then goes back to your first point is you can go to a link that I'm going to send in the chat as well. That is your first step, which is I know it's called the SE Basic. So it's a tiered, because the space has got larger, the fund size has got larger, and everyone started becoming social entrepreneurs in Malaysia. So that's when we wanted to govern this space, and we worked very closely with the ministry. We rolled out something called Social Entrepreneurship Accreditation. It's very similar to a lot of ASEAN countries and also in the world. And even the World Economic Forum has taken some of our examples here. And if you go, you apply, you get basic, and then from there, they check your accounts, you check. And that's a good thing about social entrepreneurship, because you're very transparent. You have to be accountable, you have to be transparent with your accounts, and they go screening. And if you're good, then you go to the next level, which is called SEA, Social Entrepreneurship Accreditation. And finally, that's what Masala Wheels is Social Entrepreneurship Plus, where we get tax exemption status. So any donors, any corporates work with us, they channel their funds to us, we issue tax exemption. So that is the 3 steps in summary. You can go to that link and attend. It starts with a class, a simple weekend class, and from there you are a social entrepreneur.
That's pretty simple. You make it sound really easy, Kuhan. Amira, I hope we've answered your question. It's a couple of steps. The link is right there. I'd suggest all of you go take a look at the link. You never know what you may learn today. Now, the next question is, can coaching be related to entrepreneurship? And do we have to be good in social skills as an entrepreneur? Amir, would you like to take this one first, and then Shawn will go over to you. So can coaching be related to entrepreneurship, and do we have to be good in social skills to become an entrepreneur?
The first question, can coaching be related to entrepreneurship? Do you mean like, can you make coaching as your business? Is it?
I would like to believe so. She didn't even elaborate. So let's assume that's what it is.
Yeah, yes, of course. When you have skills, you not only can sell products, you can sell your skills. That is coaching. It's about, people are coaching, crazy things now. Like I watched this video. There's this family, they sail all over the world. They sail all over the world. They they buy a sailboat, and then they sail. So they are coaching people who wants to do that. And there's a lot of coaching. They have a lot of coaching. So yeah, you can make coaching a business. So find a skill, be good at it, and you can coach people. And then you have to be good in social skill as an entrepreneur. I mean, initially I think because initially you want to save funds, you want to save you want to save some cash. You want to use yourself first to shout out your business. So that requires a bit of social skill, that a bit of social skill. But then later you can hire a PR people, or you can hire an artist, to make it for you. So but then actually you can learn social skill. I mean, I think the question is relatable with another. Do you have any tips for networking? Yes, there's a lot of place that you can network. You can go volunteer, like Kuhan. You meet a lot of good, nice people there. So you'll train your social skill there. And then there's a lot of government initiative to help entrepreneur, like InScan. You can search InScan, INSKEN, Institute Keusahawanan Negara, I think, InScan. And then MAGIC, is MAGIC, Malaysia Global Innovation and Creativity Center. They have a lot of get-together, presentations. I think Shawn is aware of MAGIC. So I think, when normal times, they have like every week, every Friday or every Thursday, so you can just go there, meet with other entrepreneurs, just start by introducing yourself. I'm Amir, this is my business. Then, it will,
and it grows.
Yeah, it grows from there, and you learn a lot of things.
So a little summary is that, yes, you need social skills, and just because you don't have it, don't hold back. Social skills is something that can be practiced, that can be acquired. And Shawn, you want to enlighten us a little about that?
Yeah. So I think it's social skill is actually very important as an entrepreneur. So, but this doesn't mean that you just wake up one day and you just have it, this kind of skill. It slowly develops over time. So don't be afraid to take the first step. There's also, as what Amir has mentioned, a lot of good examples there you can reach out to. And there's one more that I'd like to share. It's on Facebook. It's called the Startup Mamak. And this is a very good and I would say it's a very safe space, just for you to just shoot your questions there or just share articles, discuss a topic. They are very friendly, very nice people. It's, I think, more than thousands of members in the community. So don't be afraid to reach out and network to them. Then and pre-COVID times, they organize physical meetups, networking events. Just go there, it's free. Some are free, just go there, just throw in your business card and start mingling around with people. This is a very good way to start. If you want to talk about how
Wonderful.
to talk,
there are a lot of networks out there.
Yeah. If you're afraid to talk to people, I think this is a very good start. Just get out there and just start talking to people. Yeah.
Great. If Shawn and Amir are feeling kind enough, they would throw it into the chat so that you can have a look at those names in case you missed it out. Now, the next question is for Mr. Kuhan. As a business owner, I struggle with employing and retaining people with past substance abuse issues. Oh, wow. Okay. Can you share with us if you have faced with this problem? Yes. And if so, how do you deal with it as a business owner?
Okay, I think that's good. That's good to know that you are giving a second opportunity to at-risk members of the society. Yes, we do have the same problem. We have hired quite a lot of former substance abuse ex-convicts as well. And I must say that I'm not going to tell you that it's rosy that they are with us for the last 6 years. No. It is true that the attrition rate is high. We have tried a few models. We have tried teaching them or trying to adapt to different types of models so that we can actually have them longer. So one of the successful ones is that we created a sense of a family support group among our own team, because one thing we realized that these guys, the ones who have been recovered from the pusat peranti or whoever that comes and work substance abuse, they have very high tendency to fall in back again. Very high. I mean, no matter how many years they have gone under rehabilitation, they have very high tendency to fall in back. So what we did was we actually attached them together with other peers. So we started blending our organization with peers who are a little bit more successful, who are a little bit more approachable, who has got that social activism spirit among themselves, and we put them to be buddy system. And so far, it has worked. It has worked because if you know Masala Wheels, more than 50%, I think almost 90% are at risk. And when I say at risk, they are not at risk like the normal one that you think that, shoplifting. They probably would have been in a kidnapping series in Malaysia, or they would have got into really harsh criminals. And then when they get out from the prison, and then they send them to us so that we can give them an opportunity to reform. So so we tried a buddy system. That's number one. Number two is we tried to form a family group among themselves. Family group means we associate themselves as brothers, sisters, and because they don't want to go back home, they just don't want, because of that social stigma. So what we do is we get some volunteers, we get some doctors to come over and just have a look at them, talk to them, because this group of people, they want to talk. They want to share, and we tell them, if you have the tendency to go back, this is another trick that we found. It's not a scientific trick or what, but we had a guy who very strong tendency to go back into substance abuse. But one trick we found is because we are an FNB, so we fed him double the food that a normal human being can eat. And actually that helped, because it was that urge for him to go back to drugs or to alcohol. And what we did was we made sure he ate double the food someone would eat. And actually that actually suppressed a lot. And so far 2 years he's working with us, and that's so far our success rate, that we have held him for about 2 years now.
Yeah, brilliant. So we're hearing buddy system, we're hearing family groups, we're hearing simple solutions. Maybe the person who's asked the question, you want to step back and you want to look at the problem in a very simplistic manner. It may not need a very big solution. Next question, moving really quickly. What are some personal growths that you guys have found from within as part of your journey as an entrepreneur? If you could talk to your younger self, interesting, what advice would you give yourself with the benefit of hindsight on how to grow your business? Amir, would you like to take this one?
Yep. So my advice to my younger self, I would say try grab any opportunity that it's in front of you, because you never know. I mean, during back when I was in 17 years old, 18 years old, so I also never know what I want to be. You know, I want to be a doctor, I want to be engineer, I want to be what, I don't know. But then I got a scholarship back then, and then I just grab it. You know, I just grab it and do my best. So, and things started to appear, opportunities started to appear, and then you grab them. You grab them, and then you do your best on that you know, on that opportunity. So after study, I worked for 5 years, and I do my best during my working days. You know, I'm not a lazy, you know, or because, you know, I want to be an entrepreneur in my mind. So, you know, I just do halabala, you know, I just do it. You know, I do it great. I know I do it very very good. So
So
the
I'm hearing is
advice,
jump at an opportunity,
the
any
advice is,
opportunity that comes your way.
yeah, grab the opportunity and do the best. You know, do the
Alright.
best anytime. You learn from it. If it's for you, it's for you. If it's not for you, then you move on, grab another opportunity and do the best. I think,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Shawn, what about you? What would you say to your younger self? Shawn, you're on mute.
Sorry, yeah. I would say be more confident. I think back then in my university days, I was a bit of an introvert, and I wouldn't dare to explore much. Very comfortable within my comfort zone. And just one day after graduated, I just tell myself that, you know, I've got nothing to lose. I'm in my 20s, you know, so many things out there for me to explore. And I hope that, you know, I wish that I would start this journey earlier, because then I can get to know more people and get to know more opportunities. So to people out there who are so young, still so young, don't be afraid to take some risks, because you have something to fall back, you know. So don't be afraid to take more risks, be more confident, and seize, as what Amir said, seize more opportunities. Yeah.
Yes, confidence is the beginning to everything, isn't it? When we doubt ourselves, we doubt our dreams.
Yeah,
Kuhan,
yeah.
very quickly in a sentence, what would you say to your younger self?
I would have said try more tracks. You know, one thing I regretted is that I only got into F&B when I was at the age of 24, 25. But I felt that the younger age I could have done more. I could have failed more. So today I'm also in the learning track with learning institutions, training institutions. So I thought that, you know, if someone is at a younger age right now, if you like a few things, do everything at one go. But give your whole heart into it, you know. As much as there is two different school of thoughts, and both are right. Some people say pick what you like and give your full attention to it. That is absolutely right as well. But to me, in my younger day, if I would have had the opportunity, I would have actually opened a few startups and worked on it, so that I you know, I would have got excited because I had the time, I had the youth in me, and I had that same energy. Nowadays, as we grow old, you know, our energy comes down as well.
All right. Okay. So do more. Do as much as you can. Maximize your potential in your 20s, because your 20s will not come back. Everyone's nodding and agreeing with me. Amir, this one's for you, and I think it's a really good one. When someone is starting a startup, how does one think about the risk? As an example, the risk of exploring new markets and that no one has done in the country, and how to know, this is very unique, how to know what point is it not worth it anymore to start the startup.
Right. So for hipster pomade, you know, during back in 2015. So how do I research about this? You just go to the internet, you know, Instagram, Facebook, you know, just type pomade, open the brand. From what I see back then, at the comment, you know, everything is sold out. You know, oh please, I want to wear this for my Hari Raya. Oh sorry, boy, it's sold out. Sorry, it's sold out. So there I see an opportunity. I know there's a demand there. The demand is higher than the supply. So you can do research through internet. Then for exploring new market that no one has in the country. So exploring the new market, you can find a similar country like Malaysia, Indonesia. So it's a bit similar, you know, culture-wise and everything. So when I started to open up in Indonesia, what I did is I go there, and then I did what I did when I start in Malaysia, where I go to a few barber shop and introduce my product, ask them to wear it, ask them to let their customer wear it, and get their feedback from it. So after I get their feedback, their customer love it, and then I started to supply to them. So yeah, research, and then you can go to the field. For me, pomade, my field is barber shops, something like that.
All right, thank you very much, Ame. I don't think we answered that particular part of the question that the questioner wanted to know is that, and I think a lot of us get stuck in that. When do we know when to give up?
All right.
Yes.
When do we know when to give up? All right. So I don't know. I never give up actually.
I
because
know, I
yeah,
know.
because there's
Sean, would
always
you
a
like
way.
to help Ame in
Yeah,
this one? He's a
yeah.
non-giving up person. He's like, it's failing. I am not giving up. All right,
Yeah,
Sean, tell us, when do we know?
yes.
Other signs?
When you give up, it's when you are just completely lost faith in your business. I think that's it. But I need to point out a very good example. There's this aquaculture business in Indonesia that has been around since the 2010s, and they were looking for investment from venture capitalists. And no one believes in the business because it's so new, it's so unique. No one wants to invest kind of business. But that guy, the aquaculture business, he keeps supplying, because it was a new tech, aquaculture tech, so it became more efficient in farming and fishing. So, and that became more and more popular nowadays. So imagine from 2010 until now, he has continued to persevere, and be patient in his business. And now his company is multi-million, worth multi-million in value. So first of all, is you need to believe in your own business. Yeah, you need to believe in your own business, because good business, sometimes people don't see the worth of it now, but it may take decades. It may take decades for your business to thrive. So that's why if you believe in your business, stick to it.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is do not give up. It can take 5 years, it could take a year, it could take 20 years. Keep at it, and you will realize it's time to give up when you have given up within. If you don't have it in you to fight, then you are not going to be able to fight. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Right.
Moving on, Kuhan, really quickly, because we don't have too much time left, and I want to try and get in as many questions as we can. In your experience with social enterprises, are there generally self-sustaining profit market? Are they generally self-sustaining profit making, or social entrepreneurs enterprises still dependent on funding grants, selfless directors who only take token salaries? This one's for you.
So yep. So that's a very good question. Now, if you ask me the same question a few years ago, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, yes, I would say that it's not a very viable model, and people are doing it for the good of it and to sustain sustain their social work. But I think there's a lot of changes has happened. Even for a good example, 2019, we were the first social enterprise to be acquired by a corporate group. So we sold off 20% of our stake. Now you hear that in startups, where startups are valuated and they go through full valuation, and then they sell their stakes, and then the director gets a payoff. And that's what we did in 2019. And that whole thing was done in the Prime Minister's office, witnessed by Tun Dr. Mahathir.
Oh,
and it's you can find it covered by the Star as well. So that is the point where we wanted to prove a point that no, it's not just about charity. It's also a viable business model. Let's not forget, social enterprises here are to run business, at the same time sustain their model. And I would also say that there's a few social enterprises have actually surpassed 10 million valuation in Malaysia. So today, if you ask me, it's not about grants anymore. Most social enterprises are very much into revenue. For instance, my social enterprise, 95% of our revenue comes from sales. Only 5% comes from grants. We pay off our CEO, we pay off our admins, we have a CEO. So it's a viable business model. The only difference is we have a social objective.
Right. Very well said. A viable business model with a social objective, but it still runs very much similar to other business models as well. Now, I hope that answers your question. Let's go on to something a little lighter. To all speakers, so think of this as a rapid fire, chop, chop, quick. When things don't go your way and when you have a bad day at work, and we all do, they think it's a bad day at work. They don't realize it's every day could be a bad day at work. When everything looks like it's going to fall apart, what do you do to get things back in track? We go to mountains. Let's start with Amir. We've not heard your voice for some time.
Right. So I think I'll play with my kids. So it reminds me why I did this. You know, to have more time with them, to spend time with them. So yeah, I mean, I spend time with them and I get back my energy.
Brilliant. Kuhan, what about you?
So I draw my energy from spirituality. If I get down, I really go and start listening to some discourses from renowned gurus and get my energy up and about.
Brilliant. And also you go to Himalayas. Shawn, what about you?
Yeah, two things. So first thing is I would have my own support group. So I would talk to them, express my feelings and my concerns, and talk, essentially just to, help myself, calm down a bit. Secondly is sports. I play ultimate frisbee. So there's a very good community of frisbee players in Malaysia. So it's always fun playing frisbee with them. So it's just my way of blowing off some stress.
This is really beautiful. So we have family, we have spirituality, we have sports and support group. And I think to the youth out there, if you go out and you talk to 10 other entrepreneurs, you're going to hear 10 other stories and you may never know what you relate to. I think we're going to end our panel session on that particular note, that, the more you network, the more you talk to people out there, the more you're going to learn. As Kuhan had said, as Amir had added on, and Shawn says, go find people out there, go talk, work really hard. It starts with the attitude. If I asked you gentlemen to summarize really quickly, if you have advice to future entrepreneurs, there are some 50 over of them sitting down here today. Really quickly, what would that advice be, Shawn?
Yeah, it all boils down to attitude. Don't give up. Always be eager to learn, and I think, and also perseverance. Don't give up. Yeah.
Yes, don't give up. Perseverance. Amir, he stole some of your words. Now you got to come up with unique ones.
That's right. Yeah. Test and learn. Test and learn. Test and learn. Test better, fail better. Try better, fail better. So just do it, and you get a lot of it.
The one common word that I keep hearing is that y'all have seen a lot of failure and it does not stop you. So test and learn, just keep going at it. Fall, stand, in other words. Yeah. Kuhan, what about you?
So to me, we are here to, I think, inspire actions. So anything starts today and it starts now. It's not for us to put it under our pillow and go back to bed, but it's about for us to go now, right after this session, and start networking. And you can start right after this session, connect with me on LinkedIn. So I'm on LinkedIn as well. So that's the first networking step.
Yes. Please get in touch with all of these three fine gentlemen who have seen success in their paths and who are about to see a lot more success. I wish you all the very, very best. And Shawn, all the very best to you. You're leaving this September to do yourself and all of us proud. So all of you out there, 52 of you, keep in touch with all of us and let's make it big. Thank you very much once again, gentlemen, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining the session.